So here are 3 major companies providing mentorship and funding in 2025, and also 3 things I've learned as a startup founder. My name is Lolo, and let's get into this video. Starting a business can be exciting, starting a business can be fun, but it's one of the toughest things you would ever do in your life. If you're not prepared to hear no multiple times, do not start a business. If you're not prepared to get rejected, do not start a business. But in this journey, there are a couple of things I've learned that I want to share with you, along with ways you can access funding and mentorship easily. The first thing I've learned as a startup founder is this: execution matters more than your idea. Ideas are good. And in fact, one idea can change your life forever. Executing is more important than sitting with the idea. The faster you get from your idea to your customer, the better for you. It's great to have ideas. Without ideas, the world will not be where it is today. However, without execution, the world will not be where it is today. A great idea is literally worth nothing without execution. The faster you get to the market with that idea, the better for you. The faster you get to your customers with that idea, the better for you and the better for your business. And the most important thing with execution is that you don't need to have a perfect plan, or you don't need to have a perfect product. What you need to have is the ability to solve the problem using the idea that you have. Execute on your ideas. Don't sit on your ideas too long. One of the things I do when I have an idea is I just document it, but the next step going forward, as soon as I have the idea locked down and written, is that I start to meet the customers and start talking to the customers first. Because when you start to solve the problem without the product, for example, you're using a tech product, maybe an app or a web solution, when you start to talk to the customers and you start to provide that solution to them, you see some of the notions that you would need to correct, and you gain real world experience solving that actual problem. And it's also better to execute early, because when you reach out to your customers, they will be in the best position to help you solve your building problem. So for example, if you want to build a solution that solves a problem in the real estate sector, the best thing to do is to go and meet your customers, your direct customers. Tell them, this is what I'm offering. I don't yet have a product for it, but this is what I'm offering. How can I help you? Once they tell you how they want to be helped, you fine tune that source of help to go and build back your product. I hope I'm making sense. But the entire goal of this is to make you know that execution matters more than your plan. Execute faster. Don't plan faster. Don't think faster. Don't ideate faster. Execute with your customers faster. Once you have the idea, once it's fully formed or even partly formed in your mind, the next step is to find your customer and try to sell that solution to your customer or that service. The second point is networking is a growth hack. A lot of people downplay networking and how important networking is. I know I've done that in the past. I'm not particularly an outdoor extroverted person. I'm more of an introvert. I like my space. I like my comfort. I like working remotely, but I've never ever downplayed the importance of networking and meeting people. And this applies generally in life. If you want to move to the next stage in anything in life, you're usually carried on by the people you know or the people you are recommended to. Every business person can tell you that that business or first few customers that they got were through referrals. It's through networking. Networking would be the one major thing that opens doors for you. That's why they say a good name is better than silver or gold. Reaching out to people and being honest about your service or your product would open more doors for you. This is not about being used or doing unnecessary favors for people, thinking that you are building up mileage in the future. That's not a good way to think. Just know this: the right connections can open doors faster than the right advertising campaign can. Find mentors, find entrepreneurs within your space, reach out to them, engage on their posts on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, attend conferences, network with like-minded people, and you begin to see real opportunities and real doors opening up for you. That is how this entire world works. This entire world functions on networking. So it's important that as a startup founder, you don't just cook yourself up in your idea and your product. You actually head out and begin to talk to like-minded people and just everyday people. Share what you are doing. Let them share what they are doing with you. See how you can help people and see how others can help you. In this world, more people are willing to help you than none. So networking is key. So the last point is this: funding is important. However, traction is king. Most businesses collapse and suffer because of lack of funding. Especially in Africa and in Nigeria, a lot of businesses would have done a lot better if they had the right funding in place. That's why it hurts me when I see companies that raise huge amounts of money and then 12 months, 18 months down the line, they've collapsed, they've ended, they've had to lay off people. Investors like to see traction. Even though some like to see ideas, most of them like to see traction. What are you currently doing in the marketplace right now with that idea or with that product or with that service that you have? Investors want to see that. They want to see how things are going. They want to see a track record. And some of them even go as far as not even wanting to see profits, but they want to see revenue. They want to be able to track your performance over time and say, okay, in the next 4 years, this company is going to break even. I think this is a good point for me to invest in them. Traction is key. They want to see the number of customers you have. They want to see what your burn rate is. They want to see what your revenue is. Very, very important metrics to have. So whether it's user growth, whether it's revenue or engagements, proving demand for your product makes fundraising easier. This is a note to myself. I've adopted the ideology where, first of all, I'm not looking for an investor until my company begins to make money. A personal rule that I have. I do not actively look for investors until my business gains some traction, and only if it needs funding or if I need funding for that business. If not, I don't look for investors at all. So those are the three major things I've learned as a startup founder, and I just thought to share with you, and I hope it is helpful for a founder. Now, three major companies that are offering funding to startups and businesses in general. The first one, Tony Elumelu Foundation. They're giving a $5,000 grant to 1,000 companies in Africa. It's not just to tech startups, it's also to business owners. I'll link the Tony Elumelu Foundation in the caption. The second one is TVC Labs by Mr. Tommy Davis. TVC Labs is a venture capital company that provides funding to founders in Africa. So the third one is Future Africa. Future Africa is always accepting emails and pitch decks almost all year round. Future Africa is E. Aboyeji's VC firm. They're always looking for the next major thing. But remember what I said, be loud about what you're building, especially if you're solving a real problem, and utilize social media as much as you can. One last bonus tip for you is this. Do not neglect crowdfunding. There are a lot of people who know how to raise capital through crowdfunding. You may want to go online, search for those people, reach out to them, let them know what you're building, and tell them you want to raise funding through either GoFundMe, Indiegogo, Kickstarter. These are ways you can raise funding for your company or for your product. As long as the message is strong and the solution is viable, as long as you can tell your story, people would invest in you. Do have a wonderful week. Peace.